Greetings, you're watching Beyond the Ballot on Love Well Set. My name is Jackie Shabango, and today we are bringing to you yet another special coverage. This time it is the African National Congress, ANC's special strategic National Executive Committee meeting, which will be holding for a number of days, 6 days to be exact, where they will be reviewing for the first time the performance of the organization concerning the recent general elections. They'll also be looking at other internal issues concerning the development of the organization and forking more strategies on how to gain ground that which they've lost. As you know, that the ANC over the years, it has been gradually losing power with the electorate of South Africa. So today and over the next days, we'll be gauging the developments coming here, which arguably will also shed light or underpin the trajectory of the country. As you know, that whilst the ANC is losing power, they are still leading the government of national unity, and what happens there is predominantly dictated by them. So stay tuned to this program as we bring you the developments happening here on site. God bless you.
What is the National Democratic Revolution? It is redress, to continue that work within government and deliver for the people of South Africa. And that's what our government is going to do. You ask about NHI, you ask about Bella Bill. We want those things to happen and to happen as they've been signed into law. There are challenges. It wouldn't have stopped even if there was no JNU. DA and others wouldn't have stopped. And they are not going to stop. And stop being irritated by Zille every time he says he wants to see the ANC dead. That is his job. That is a job. And the DA, like all others who want to see the ANC gone, they say they eat the elephant piece by piece. But the elephant is not out, still standing. And the ANC will go down if it entertains the irritation and doesn't do what is right. And that is what is important for us. So GNU will speak in one voice in relation to government programs. There are protocols in government that ministers don't just pronounce policy and speak out of turn without processing matters. You can express your wish every day, but as long as it is not government policy, it will not be implemented. And that's what is important. This government is about redress. It's about a transformation. So the deputy minister espouses a position in relation to Israel. That is government position. There's nothing wrong with that. We know that Gayton has got a position in terms of his patriotic alliance. He supports Israel. So it's not something new. So he's got to say, I'm not consulted about that, but the fundamental question is, what is government policy? Is that we are in solidarity with the Palestinian people and we recognize the Israeli state as an apartheid state. And we want this to stop. And that's what is important. And the fact that they won't see eye to eye in relation to the spot boycott, because Gayton as a minister represents a position that defends Israel, is to be expected. Nothing has changed, and it will not have changed if ever Gayton was not part of government. Anyway, he will continue to express his particular view. DA taking ANC to court over NHI, I've answered that question. They will. They are not going to stop in anything. The DA says they don't want deployment, and they practice it. And then they do all sorts of things. But they don't call it deployment, like us. So we're in court with them around those particular issues. So like I've explained before, and we're still explaining now, GNU is not a melting pot of political parties ceasing to be who they are and what they represent. The contradictions will be there, as they would have been, even within the broader situation of a government led by the ANC, wholly, overwhelmingly. Our majority has been affected So we will not maneuver and do things like we used to do before. The opposition will try to get to us in whatever way they can to try their luck. But we know that we hold the sway in terms of as the largest party within the government of national unity. There's nothing that can happen without us in this government that we lead of national unity going forward. Kasi broadcast, Zuma has been expelled not by the SG but by the disciplinary committee of the ANC. The job of the SG in terms of the ANC constitution is to announce the decision. I announced the decision of Magashule, I've announced of Jacob Zuma. If he wants to appeal that, he can do it within 21 days. It's a decision. Not even this NEC will object or reject. They've got no locus standi. The matter is closed. Zuma is expelled. He's not a member of the ANC. As we speak, we have moved from suspension to expulsion, and we have followed every step in terms of guided by our constitution. If you want to challenge that, he can. If you want to appeal it, it's within his right. But he's not our member, and we're not going to repeat ourselves about it. It's done. He can lead what he leads at the present moment, which today, by the way, we are challenging it in court. It's our trademark. We'll challenge it till the end. We're in court appealing that decision, erroneous decision of that judge who even ran away from reading the judgment and gave it to the clerk of the court to read it, and so on. We're challenging that decision because in terms of the trademark law in this country, we've got grounds to challenge that, and we're going for it as we speak now in Durban. Helen Zille, not GNU, a grand coalition. He wanted a grand coalition. She wanted a grand coalition. She came and the DA to the negotiations that we must not talk to the EFF, we must not talk to Zuma Party and all of these other people, PA and so on. We said no. We have signed a statement of intent with 10 political parties, including the DA. So what is she talking about? So we're not going to entertain Helen and what she is dreaming about and what she wants. We've got the responsibility ourselves and the DA to govern. And we will tell by actions and the work that we do who has actually won the hearts and minds of South Africans going forward. As the ANC, we are not interested in polemics. We are interested in governing the country and governing very well. We need stability for South Africa, and that's what is important. DA is part of the GNU, and we're moving forward nicely going forward. And that's what is important for us. Will MK, yes, MK war veterans are part of the ANC. They will be part of the Lekgotla. They are invited. They are still there. Also, they've got their issues that we need government to address. Those issues will be addressed here. That's what is important for us, to address the welfare of our former combatants. It's important so that we don't confuse issues. And we need to move in regard to that with speed. And then you asked the question about coalition with the ANC and all of that. We don't have a coalition, a grand coalition that is called the DA and the ANC in terms of definition.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you are watching Beyond the Ballot, and we are bringing to you the special coverage, rather, of the ANC NEC meeting and Lekgotla, where leaders of the ANC are gathered to review their party's performance and also strategize on a way forward. As you may know, that the ANC did not emerge as an outright majority of these elections, though they are still the leader of the government of national unity. So this meeting will, amongst other things, review the performance of the ANC in the recent general elections, but also bring leaders of the ANC across board, including your provincial premiers and members of the executive councils from different provinces and executive mayors to, just strategize and see a possible way forward on how can the ANC gain ground. And behind me here, what is about to happen now is a media briefing delivered by the Secretary General of the ANC, Mr. Fikile Mbalula, who will be outlining the purpose of the meeting and his anticipations moving forward. So stay tuned as we bring you that briefing shortly.
MK war veterans are part of the ANC. They will be part of the Lekgotla. They are invited. They are still there. Also, they've got their issues that we need government to address. Those issues will be addressed here. That's what is important for us, to address the welfare of our former combatants. It's important so that we don't confuse issues. And we need to move in regard to that with speed. And then you asked the question about coalition with the ANC and all of that. We don't have a coalition, a grand coalition that is called the DA and the ANC in terms of definition. I think as journalists, you are educated. You know what is a grand coalition. So does this look like a grand coalition? It's not. A grand coalition is a coming together of one or two political parties to form government. That's not what has happened here. You've got more than one political party that has formed government. It is the ANC that is leading. It is the DA. It is the IFP. It is GOOD. It is the PA, of which we're talking about Gayton now. It is the PAC in government. It is UDM in government. It's Al-Jama in government. What is that in political definition of models of government? Is that not a multi-party GNU? Is that an ANC-DA arrangement? There's no such. You can argue that the ANC leads and the DA has got the biggest share, but it is not a grand coalition. Okay? It is a GNU with elements of supply and confidence, minority government, right? There are political parties who have signed, like Rise Mzansi, the statement of intent and endorsed the GNU, but they are not in government. They said, we don't want to be in government. We want to be in the legislature. Songezo is chairing Scopa there, chasing everyone who's in government to account. Very strategic position, tactical, that they've taken as a party. So you do have parties like that. UAT, once they didn't get anything, they left with their afro. So I'm gone. So so they are gone. So you can be off tangent and argue what Helen is arguing and what he's saying, and I think it's a diversion, and we're not getting into that terrain. Somebody sent me what Helen Zilev said. He's a leader of the DA. It can't be because he's part of the DA you expect Helen Zille to change overnight and mimic the ANC. She can't. We are not allies. We are not allies. DA will come in this government and want to undo all the progressive gains we have achieved in terms of the National Democratic Revolution. And we will not agree with them. We'll stop them. We don't agree with them when they say Bella Bill must not be signed, NHI must go out of the window, and then their perspective in terms of worker rights in relation to where we stand is horrible. It's not about progress and all of that, and transformation of this country. We are opposed to that, period. And then they will still take us to court like they used to in the previous administrations and all of that. So we are ready for that. Let's not argue about who outsmarted who, because it's not in the interest of the people of South Africa in terms of cabinet and all of that. That's not important, because once we go down that route, we are now changing from matured politics to competition. The fact of the matter is that political parties have come together, formed government, and then we are leading the country. There is stability, Political parties have committed themselves to foundational principles of this government of national unity. And what are those foundational principles? Is constitutional democracy and the rule of law, is redress, is economic growth and creating jobs for our people. And that's what we want, is deepening democracy in terms of non-racialism, and also fight for gender parity. And these are the things that South Africans want out of us, to ensure that we fight crime, government works with communities in the fight against crime, and so on. So that is what it's important for us, and so on. Ministers announcing matters of sixth administration. You have answered that question yourself, that they have indeed, when you come into government, the first day you announce the budget of the sixth administration, and then you are savvy in terms of communications and PR. You claim that is what Amilcar Cabral calls claiming easy victories and tell no lies. So we're not interested in that. The fact of the matter is that the only change, if it has to be effected, will come in terms of new APPs in the next cycle of government, MTBBS, which is coming now. And then what is going to go into that planning that government is going to get into. That is what will shape the thinking of the new ministers in the new administration. So you know how government works. You cannot come into government today with your ideas and think you will implement them. It doesn't work like that. You implement the APP. Even if the ANC was out of power, all the things that will have been announced now in terms of the budget are of the sixth administration. So the seventh administration budget is still coming. So the ANC is still in power, and ANC leads in the GNU. Not that there will be no innovation and new ideas that are going to come. They are going to come in the ministries that other members of the GNU control and are part of in terms of government. Lizeka, signing of agreements, we are coming to that. We have not reached that stage. We are done now with government, legislatures, and all of that. I was having a discussion with Helen yesterday, and we're having a meeting again on Wednesday to discuss the national dialogue, also with all other political parties. This meeting of ours is also going to discuss national dialogue, ANC perspective. The national dialogue is about the coming together of South Africans. There will be others who think that it is not important, they won't come to it and all of that. But South Africans have embraced this national dialogue, and which must be led by government and everybody coming to the party. And that is what is important. In this country, before some of you were born, we had what was called Conference for Democratic Future. It was held at Wits University.
I am with the former Minister of Defense in South Africa and former Speaker of the National Assembly, yes, Methandi Modise, who is one of the members of the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress. Methandi, welcome to Beyond the Ballot.
Okay. Is this what the program is called? Okay.
Yeah, yes, but this is what the program is called.
Okay. Yeah.
So how are you finding the meeting thus far?
I have been a member of the National Executive Committee for a very long time. I'm finding this meeting the same way I've always found ANC meetings. It is a place where the ANC deliberates over its program, its past and its future intentions. So we're on track. We're okay.
Yeah. Is the ambience hope stirring? Still, does it insinuate that you will gain the lost ground and move forward as a more united organization?
Well, we are a political movement, a political party. We contest elections. We fought for South Africans to make their choices. They have made their choices. They have made very interesting choices in these last elections. They have actually forced us to re-look at where we are going, to re-look at who else they have chosen to go into this government. And therefore we're going to be In this GNU, we're going to make the best of it, not for ourselves as the ANC. The focus must always be on the people of South Africa, the citizen.
Amazing. And how are you feeling about the outcome already? Because I think one of the core objectives of this gathering is for you to review the performance of the ANC where elections are concerned and forge some strategies moving forward on how to gain your lost ground and all that. Are you thinking, is it a signal that the democracy is maturing, or is it a signal that the people have lost confidence in the ANC?
If they had lost confidence in the ANC would not have been back in government. I think we are looking at ourselves very critically. We are looking at what needs to be done. We are not focusing only on, we're not looking at our belly buttons. We are looking at what we need to do to ensure that we do not lose track of why we are in government in the first place. So, we will resolve, I think, by the end of this NEC to loosen the loose end, to fasten where we need to tighten, to make sure that we are back on track, to make sure that the confidence that South Africa, and in fact this continent has in the African National Congress, is restored. What I am happy about is that the elections came and went, that they were bloodless, that we are moving forward, that we are able to talk across the parties, that what we are focusing on, the future of our children, the welfare of our aged, the decency and the dignity of our country and continent are on track.
Welcome to Beyond the Ballot.
No, thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
Amazing. How are you finding the new portfolio?
I'm still learning my way around, but I find it a very different, but very structured, organized, and I think it's going to be a happy space. But it's a very organized and well-disciplined area.
Amazing. The NEC meeting that you are attending today, till the next couple of days, your expectations?
Nothing. Expectations obviously will be to really analyze our outcomes, what were the costs, what the challenges, and how do we remedy the situation, and how do we plan forward. Really, it's going to focus mainly on the organization, but also that we're in the GNU, what is our stance as ANC. So it will be your current existing dynamics here.
It's Women's Month in South Africa. We've just begun. Just words to women who are aspiring politicians, the young ones in particular, because I think that's where you were back in the days, speaking to young people every time, handing out awards and encouraging them to take up spaces where it matters the most in society.
I must tell you, I was amazed. Yesterday I went to some defense sections where with Arms Corps, where they really do lots of work around the armaments. I think 90% of those people, top scientists, masters with PhDs, were young women. And I was extremely proud of our struggle to say it has produced great women. So I'm saying to our young girls up there, the world is open for you. Move in, take the space. The world is ready for you.
Madam, welcome to Beyond the Ballot.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, amazing. You are here for the ANC NEC meeting. How are you finding the meeting thus far?
I think the meeting is going very well. However, before coming to this meeting in the morning, we launched the August Women's Month. As you will know, in South Africa, August is a dedicated Women's Month. And we're able to explain exactly as to what we'll be doing during this month, but also the significance of this month. For instance, we look at where we're coming from, the journeys that we have traversed, and where we're getting to. And also we're celebrating, for instance, here in South Africa, 30 years of Women's Charter. We're celebrating, in fact, 70 years of Women's Charter. We're celebrating 30 years of Women's Charter's effective equality. But we're also celebrating 101 years since women were allowed in South Africa to be judges. And it is very interesting if you look at the figures that we have. Before that, we had 65 judges. And of the 165 judges, 160 were white men, and 3 were black men, and 2 were white women. So there was no white no black judge then. Today we have 253 judges, 113 of them are women judges. That's how we have actually progressed. And therefore there are things that we can refer to that indicate progress. And I think we should also be quick to congratulate our new Chief Justice designate, Memaya. President Ramaphosa actually appointed her. She's going to start at the beginning of September. And as women of South Africa, even of the continent, we say to her, you have our support, ma'am, because you represent us, you are our role model. Young people will be looking up to you, but you're making history in the justice system for South African women. And it actually talks to the rule of law in South Africa, but the opportunities that are there for women. So these are the things that we're looking at, and we're further saying what then? We're looking at the numbers of young people that are from universities now. We have more women than even men. But what we then are asking as the department is to say, yes, there are more going to tertiary institutions, and what then? When they complete, when they leave tertiary institutions, what become of them? Do they go home and sit at home? And we are saying we need now to answer that question. We say go to university, vocational colleges. We need to answer the question that says when they complete, what's going to happen to them? And that is what, as a department, we will be advocating for, as it is our role, but also streamlining other departments, going to the private sector to say, what do you need from us? What are the skills that you require? So that we produce skills that you are going to absorb. So we're going to have a lot of engagement with the private sector, with our state-owned companies that belong to the state, but of course the departments from all spheres of government. And of course, we have a plethora of activities that are going to happen. We're going to heighten the awareness campaign. On the 9th, we have the Women's Day, which will be presided upon by the President himself. He's going to sign the pledge of men against gender-based violence. We're going to launch also the study, which was conducted on the extent of gender-based violence in South Africa. This is the first of its kind, which actually shows what we mean when we say we're going to put at the center of everything that we do as research and data. And that is how we're going to work going forward.
Amazing. Given your previous performance in your department as Minister of Transport, one would arguably say you are a very active minister, a foot soldier amongst the deployees of the ANC. Your priority areas in this new portfolio?
I think my strength as a person is hard work. If I don't work hard, then I lose everything. So that's my strength from when I was young. Even when I was a public servant, where I worked, I would do everything within my power to perform and to do the work. So I think that will be my strength. And that's that. Like I'm saying, we're going to have a media briefing to actually table before South Africa our priorities. But it's just to say, at the center of everything that we're going to do, research will be there.
Yeah, well, that's it. You've had it. It's all systems go with the ANC National Executive Committee meeting here at Bosbeck, Gauteng, South Africa. We'll be bringing you more updates and analysis here on Beyond the Ballot Level Stat. So till the next exciting episode or inspiring episode, stay tuned to Level Set. Thank you.